put out a post soon this week.
All right.
All right, are we all set?
We'll do a clean intro for Instagram.
Facebook, you guys don't know this, but I usually do this banter with Instagram.
First. All right. Clean intro.
Good morning, Instagram. We've been live with Facebook this time first, so you don't get to hear all of my chatter. Thank you for joining. If you are joining, we're doing slow and low. That is the tempo. So we're going to go really slow, really gentle. In fact, we're going to start off lying down on our backs. So without any more chatter, we're going to lay down on the back. Will you bring me a clock, Andrew?
I'll get everything you need. Yep.
All right. So we're getting started here, lying down. I'm going to ask if they can hear me. Can you notice if anybody says they can't hear me? Guys, can you hear me? I just want to make sure the audio is well and good. And if we are all set to go, we're going to start lying down, but give a little press into the elbows here. Lift up through the heart. Kind of slide the shoulders maybe towards one another and then down the back. And then close the eyes. Relax the feet. Relax the face. And then just give yourself a moment to start to tune in to this space. So maybe you are practicing outside. Maybe you're practicing where you have some external distractions. Just observe what it is that you're working with. Observe what you are working with physically. And give yourself a moment to check in with how you feel mentally, maybe emotionally, spiritually. There's all these different ways that we experience and how we feel and how we exist. So just give yourself a moment to notice. Maybe you stayed up late and you feel tired. Maybe you did not and you feel very energized. So just taking note of this without maybe becoming attached to the sensation or to the feeling. Start to deepen into the breath. And we'll start to cultivate this Ujjayi breath here. So we start to breathe in and out the nose. And with every inhale, allow this breath to travel from the base of the spine, from Mula Bandha, the pelvic muscle, drawing the breath to climb up the spine, expanding the back body wide, and letting this breath wrap around to hug through front body, coming up to the heart, and then throat, third eye, crown of the head. And letting the breath release, coming out through the nose, softening the front body, and then the back body, softening throat, third eye, crown of the head. And as you deepen into the breath, just allow yourself to become just a little bit more grounded, a little bit more centered here. Notice where you're holding on to any tension. Maybe it's in the hands or the feet or the jaw. See if you can soften that. And then we're going to take our feet and bring the inner edges of the feet together. So we're going to flex the feet, big toes connect, inner edges of the heels connect, and then flex the feet, turn the palms to face down, press the palms really close to the sides, and then press the palms down into the mat here. If you need to, again, press into the elbows, lift up the heart a little bit. Good. And then just really firmly feeling ourselves grounded into the earth here. So maybe the elbows press down. Maybe you feel the forearms, the backs of the shins, so the calves and the hamstrings. And then point the toes. Keep pressing down through the palms. And then flex the feet. Good. Again, pointing the toes. And then flexing the feet. Good. Pause here with the feet flexed. Think of bringing the toes towards the nose. And then still pressing down through the calves and the hamstrings and the palms and the triceps, the shoulder blades, and the back of the head. Good. And then we're just going to open up the feet, relax a little bit here, and then maybe kind of moving the feet in circles. So pointing and flexing, creating a little bit of a rotation. And then switch directions. And then maybe come back, maybe point and flex with a little bit of organic movement. And then take the hands. We're going to just start to, so press the elbows down into the mat. Maybe you open and close the hands. Maybe you do little circles with the wrist. So do something just to start to come into this upper space as well. So we've felt movement in the feet. Now bringing some movement into the wrist, into the hands. Good. And then reach the arms all the way up and overhead. Just pause here, slide the shoulders down the back a little bit. If you notice that you start to arch or kind of puff up through the ribs, see if you can. Draw your ribs in, draw the belly in. Keep elongating through the spine. Good. And then reach the arms straight above. Interlace the fingers, press the inner sides of the hands, the palms towards the sky or the ceiling, and then slide the shoulders down so they're rooted onto the mat. With this clasp here, reach the arms overhead. Good, undo that space, palms face the ears, reach, maybe flex through the feet. Good, and then take the hands back down to the sides. Good, and then gently, just look to one side here. We're just going to look over to the right. I told you this was slow and low. And then gently bring it through, look to the left. Good, bring it back to center, look to the right. Come back to center, look to the left. And then a gentle heart opening space here. This is called Matsyasana, fish pose. We're going to slide. So be really gentle with this space, especially cervical spine. We want to make sure that we don't ever compromise this space. So as you come into this, just observe how it feels and don't overdo it. We're going to come to resting on the crown of the head. So we slide the elbows back. We start to prop ourselves up here. And then coming to the crown of the head. And just pausing, maybe pointing the feet. And keeping the throat space open, keeping the heart lifted. Good, knowing that this support is really from the crown of the head, not so much the elbows. There's a little support there, right? But eventually we can reach the arms up, not necessary. Still stay supported here if you need it. Good, take a breath. And exhale, release back down. Untuck the chin a little bit, so making sure we're not tucked or open, just really level and neutral with the cervical spine. Good. And then draw the knees into the chest here. Wrap your arms around your shins, give yourself a squeeze, just slightly, so not fully curving into this completely rounded space yet, but just a gentle rocking side to side. Good, and then we're going to grab onto the knees and just start to create some circles here with the hips. So gently opening up a little bit, drawing it back in. You can go as fast as you would like or as slow as you need to. Maybe switch directions. Maybe come in, just go side to side a little bit. Good, and then place the soles of the feet down to the mat. And then bring the soles of the feet together. We're going to open the knees wide, Baddha Konasana on the back. So Supta, Baddha Konasana. And then just kind of observe the feet and the heels. So the heels can come as close to the groin as you need to, or you can slide them down a little bit. It's really up to you and how your hips feel right now. The hands can rest on the thighs. They can come to the sides, maybe to the belly. Maybe one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. So choose what is kind of calling you. Where are your hands drawn to? Put them where they land. And then breathe in deep to the belly. Find that Ujjayi breath. Maybe close the eyes. And see if you can stay focused here instead of letting the mind start to wander. See if you can kind of notice what's pulling you out of this present moment and just observe it, notice it, and then come back to your breath. And find some openness through the hips still. Notice if there's any tension starting to arise. And then take the hands. We'll take the hands. Oh, there's a caterpillar. Caterpillar on me. Take the hands to the knees. Bring the knees together gently. Take the arms. We're going to do, so you're going to create like a cactus with the arms. So we do this with the arms. So they create, we could call it a goalpost or cactus arms. Gently drop the knees to the right. Look to the left. If you find that this space or this position with the arms is uncomfortable, you can turn the hands just out. Maybe you take one hand to the top of the leg to encourage the knees to come down. And then bring it gently, slowly. Staying low to the ground, staying slow. Bring them over to the left, look to the right. Again, maybe you place the hands here, maybe they adjust or change. This is really up to you. And keep that sensation of the breath and that focus here in the moment. Good. Bring the knees back in. And then this time we're really going to round the whole body here. So wrap the arms around the shins. Give yourself a really good squeeze. Bring the forehead to the knees if that works. And then pause it here so we start to create some heat. Maybe you point the feet. Maybe you flex the feet. Good. Release it back down. And then roll to the right side. We're going to roll to the right or maybe the left. It's up to you here. But we're going to make our way into fetal position. So slow and low still. Keep with that theme here before we make our way up. Pausing here. Allowing the head to rest on the arms. Good, and then letting the hands help you up. You're going to make your way up to a seated space. Slowly and steadily bringing ourselves up. Good. And then find crisscross applesauce, find lotus, find what is comfortable. Just a seated space here. So Sukhasana, layering the shins. Good, and then just start to lift the shoulders up by the ears. So we think like looping the shoulders. So shoulders up by the ears, slide the shoulders down the back. And do that again, slide the shoulders up by the ears, loop them back and down. Good, inhale, lift the shoulders. Exhale, down. Good, and then inhale, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, slide the shoulders down. Good, pause here. And then still with that slow and steady tempo here, keeping ourselves rooted, keeping ourselves centered, we're going to look to the right and then down a little bit. So just looking down. And then bring the head back to center, drop the chin. And slowly look to the left. So it's not straight, it's straight and then just slightly down. Hi, Strider. Good, so easy does it back to center. We're gonna lift up, open up through the throat, through the heart. Good, chest and collarbones wide. Think shoulders down the back. And then drop the chin. Good, and then bring it to straight here and then sit as tall as you can, a really straight spine. Draw the belly in. So as we draw the belly in, we find support for the back, right? So we activate the muscles that support the spine, sit up really tall, and then inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace the palms like we did on the back, flex the palms towards the ceiling, then start to bring the gaze upward as much as you feel comfortable with. Good, heart stays lifted, shoulders are down the back. Good, release the space. Good, hands come down. And then do it again. Inhale, lift up. Interlace the palms, flex the palms to the ceiling, look up. Then exhale, hands come down. Good, lift the shoulders by the ears, roll them down the back. Again, shoulders up by the ears, down the back. And stay with your breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then we're going to take ourselves onto all fours here. So, slow and steady, stay low to the ground. Notice if you have a hard time, maybe you even have a hard time moving from seated to all fours. So just be mindful of that transition here. And then coming to all fours, we're going to shift back into child's pose just for a moment. And then take the tailbone to the heels. If you have your bolster, you can grab a bolster or your blanket to rest the body on. So you can rest your head here. You don't have to. The head can come right down to the mat. And then observe if this feels uncomfortable in any areas, adjust how you need to, or maybe the intensity or the sensation is something you are moving out of, but you know that you need to sit in it. So what does that mean? So our work happens in the uncomfortable spaces. I don't mean pain by any means, but if you feel some working sensations in these postures, stay in that, breathe through that space. And then when you're ready, slide it back up onto all fours here. And then create yourself a nice little straight table. So tabletop, shoulders above the wrist, press the ground away from you, plug in through belly, and then take the hips above the knees. And then drop the belly down, inhale, look up. And then exhale, looking down. Draw the belly in. Good, inhale, looking up. And exhale, dropping down. Good. And then come back to your tabletop position here. Good. We're going to take the legs a little bit wider and then take the toes together. So we're going to take the knees wide, but the legs come together. So it creates kind of like a V shape here. And then sitting back just a little bit into this adjusted child's pose here. Good. And then inhale, coming back up, lifting up through the heart, keeping the toes together. It feels a little funny, right? Just a little bit different than we're used to. Inhale here. Exhale, shift it back. So just a variation on cat-cow. So coming here, maybe slightly rounding the back. When you're ready, inhale, scooping up, lifting up through the heart, drop the belly. Exhale, rounding the back. And coming down. Go do that one more time. Slowly coming up, inhale, lifting the belly.
It's 9:25.
Exhale, good, thank you. Coming back down. Good, slowly come up. So we're gonna come up so we are standing on the knees. And then tuck your toes underneath just a little bit. So tuck the toes under. Maybe this is a little uncomfortable for you. If it is, you can untuck the toes. So if you feel all right here, tucking through or underneath the toes, and then staying low, we're not going to fully stand up. Inhale, reach the arms tall. So just modifying this space here. Good, shifting so the hips are right above the knees if that works for you. Good, belly is in, and then drop the right arm down, lift the left arm up and over. Good, look up through the lifted hand. Good, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, left arm down, right arm up and over. Good, maybe you gaze up. Chin lifts up, heart is open. Good, one more time, inhale, lift really tall here. Good, exhale, take the hands down, untuck the toes, shift it back into child's pose, Balasana. Take a breath here. Yeah, keeping yourself low to the ground. In child's pose, I usually keep my head up just a little bit, but it's only so I don't get in the way of the audio. So keeping the head down, walk the hands over to the right. Left hip is rooted. And walk the hands back to center. Walking to the left. Keep this right side rooted. Good, and then coming back to center, lift it up onto all fours. We'll come into our first down dog, low and slow, slow and low. Stay steady in your slow movement. So we think maybe committing to slowing down just a little bit. Tuck the toes, press into the palms, lift the feet or the hips up and behind. Lengthen and extend through the backs of the legs. Maybe bend one knee and then the next. Maybe release the head. And shake out the head just a little bit. And then find down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Notice if this is bothersome to your wrist. If it is, you can adjust. Good. And then lift up onto the toes and then drop the heels down. Good. Lift up onto the toes, drop the heels down. Good. Then dropping back down to tabletop. Good, shifting back to child's pose again, Balasana. Good, deepen into the breath. If you've lost, you guys stay here. I'm coming up just so I can talk. So in Balasana, in child's pose, deepen into that space of breath. So really expand, breathe deep. Good, and then come back up. We'll come on to tabletop again. And then doing that variation, we'll call it, on cat-cow. So taking the toes together, taking the knees wide. Good. And then we're going to come forward. Inhale, lift the belly, or lift the heart, belly drops, right? So you feel this in a different part of the back. It looks a little goofy. And then exhale. Round the back, sit yourself back in this child's pose, Balasana, with this kind of wide leg stance. Good. Inhale, come back up. Lift the heart. Tailbone lifts. Exhale, round the back. Good, tailbone down. Good, come back up. And then finding yourself in tabletop. Reach the right arm straight out to the side. Palm faces down and see if you can align the shoulder and the hand so the arm is really straight. And then start to open it up just a little bit, maybe a lot. Big breath here. And then exhale, thread the needle. So dropping the right shoulder down to the mat. And then taking this left hand, it can walk forward. You can soften down to the mat. If you would like to, I'm going to turn around for this because it's hard to talk like this. And I'll switch on the other side. So if you would like to, you can lift the left arm up. You can wrap it around the back. It can kind of wiggle in to find something. So this is not essential or necessary, but only if you want to feel like a more open space through the shoulder. We can be very gentle and subtle. This left hand can come right down. It can walk forward. Good, so you have the tailbone lifted away from the heels. We're just in this, so we've threaded the needle. So find some softness here. Maybe allow the eyes to close, breathe in a little deeper. So if you're in this space where the arm is wrapped, you're going to reach it back up to release, reach tall to the sky, place the left hand down, lift yourself up back onto all fours. Good. And then reaching I'm going to switch around for this side. Reach the left hand out to the left side. Press down into this rooted hand here. So if we hear this cue, move out of the armpit space. So sometimes we sink into the armpit, lift out of it, press the ground away from you. Left arm out to the side. Palm faces down, arm is really centered. So shoulder to wrist align. Inhale, lift that arm up, open, and then exhale, thread the needle here. Good, left arm comes down. Left side of the face, and then walk this right arm forward. Good, maybe the arm reaches up. You can wrap it on this side, you can wiggle it around to find what it can find, or the hand can rest gently. So I think I'm in the way of the audio here, so I'm going to lift out of it a little bit. You guys stay where you're at. So the left side of the face is down to the mat. This left arm and left shoulder are resting, and then the tailbone is lifted gently away from the heels. So it's not this, right? It's lifted up just a little bit higher. And then breathe into the spot. So making sure to still cultivate or continue your Ujjayi breath. So breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Pretend I'm still in threading the needle. I just muffle the microphone too much. Good. And then sliding. So if your hand is wrapped, reach it back up. Place it down. Press up and out. Coming back to tabletop, and then we'll do downward facing dog one more time. So slow and steady, that commitment to slowing yourself down a little bit. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. A downward facing dog, release the head. And take a big deep breath here. So take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale it out. And then dropping back down to the knees really slowly. Good. Coming up to, should have put my hair back. Coming to, we'll do Virasana. So legs together and either seated on the heels. This is a difficult posture, so really be mindful of it. If you'd like to sit on a bolster, you can take the bolster underneath here. A block is really great too. So there's a lot of variations for Virasana. Be really mindful of the knees. So in Virasana, in Hero's Pose, the knees stay together. I can show you this forward facing. So we don't want to, so here is a variation of Virasana, knees are together. We don't want this, right? So we want to keep them really close together. Another variation is when the heels separate and we sit down right in between the space. It's a little much for some people, for a lot of people. But as we find this lower seated space, we don't want the knees to splay, right? We want the knees to stay together, feet go straight back behind, and then we're having a seat. I can show you the back view of this as well. So, legs together, feet together, or kind of moving the feet out and then settling the bottom right down to the ground. Good. So it's hard. Find a version that works for you. Knees together, feet maybe together. Take the palms, we're going to flip the palms to face up. So we're going to take right hand on the bottom, left hand on the top, connecting the tips of the thumbs together here. Close the eyes, take a big deep breath. Exhale, let it out. Good, and then gently coming out of this, so if you're in full posture, be really gentle on the knees. Maybe you just slide the hands to one side and extend the legs out. Nice strider. Can you get out of the view? Sorry, guys. Go on. Go on. Unless you're going to do down dog. Okay. Good. So just a seated forward fold, gentle on the backs of the legs. Extend the legs straight in front. Lift up really tall through the belly. Reach the arms. Good. Thinking forward instead of down. So instead of collapsing, we want to lift up and forward. Reach the arms forward. Maybe you find the hands can connect to the feet. Maybe they do not. Sit up however you need to. And then drop through the shoulder, or drop through the head just a little bit. Sometimes we lift up too high. See if you can drop down a little bit. And then staying here if you can. We're going to stay in this posture just for a little bit longer. So take an inhale, lift up through the belly. Don't lift too high, slow and low. Exhale, soften in just a little bit. Do that again. Take an inhale, find length, maybe lift the heart. Exhale, soften in just a little bit more. Good, good. Stay here if you can. One more breath here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. And slowly bring it back up to straight. And we're going to come all the way down to the back because I'm guessing that they're turning the sprinkler on, so this must be my cue to end class here. I'm going to lay down onto the back. So laying down, oops, I'm going to move this here. Laying down onto the back. Before we come all the way into Shavasana, we'll find one back bend or bridge pose here, Satyabandha. So placing the feet down kind of underneath the knees, and then feet are like knees with distance. So frontal hips, not outer hips. Feet are straight. Press the palms to face down, roll the shoulders under. So be really careful of the back of the neck, making sure the back of the neck is not flat down onto the mat. Press down into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips. Maybe we interlace the hands. Good. Take an inhale. Exhale, stay here. And see if you can bring the awareness, we're still lifted, into the bottom. So we don't want to squeeze gluteus maximus. We don't want to squeeze the butt. We want to push into the feet, activate the thighs, the quadriceps, the hamstrings. Good, staying here still. Keep pressing down to the big toe side of the foot, keeping the knees from splaying open. Big breath. And exhale, release the hands, drop the tailbone down. Take the soles of the feet together again, the Supta Baddha Konasana space. And then we'll end in a few minutes here. I actually have no idea what time it is. We're going to do some pranayama here. So Viloma 2, laying on the back here with the knees the way they are. We're going to take a big deep breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go out the mouth. And take an inhale in through the nose. Pause here, hold that inhale, draw the belly to the spine. As you're ready to exhale, exhale a tiny bit out the nose and pause. And tiny bit out the nose and pause. Tiny bit more out the nose and pause. When you're empty of breath, pause in that empty space. Draw belly to spine, kumbhaka. And draw the breath in through the nose. Pause here, draw belly to spine. Exhale a little bit out the nose and pause. A little bit more out the nose and pause. A little bit more out the nose and pause. When you're empty, draw belly to spine, pause. And you can do a few more rounds of that if you'd like. We'll do one more together, inhaling through the nose. Exhale a little bit more, a little bit more, and all the way out. And take a big breath in. Exhale. And gently bring the legs back together. Good. Drop the knees over to the right, look to the left. And bring the knees back into center, look to the left, or look to the right, knees to the left. Good. Coming back into center and then extending all the way into Shavasana for real this time. So the same way we started out, splaying the ankles, softening in the shoulders. Take a big deep breath. Exhale. And do that again, big deep breath in. Exhale. And then do one more really big deep breath in. See if you can like audibly sigh out the mouth. And then soften here, relax into the space, Shavasana. And just allowing any tension that you might still be holding on to melt away from this space, feeling that relaxation just kind of come over the whole body here. And soften the jaw if you need to, soften the tongue, soften the eyes. And then this is a short and sweet Shavasana. If you'd like to extend it, feel free. Good, but we're gonna come out of it. So wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, and then gently roll to the right. And keeping left side elevated. And then letting the hands help you up. Maybe you stay here a little bit longer. And slowly coming up to a seated space. And then finding that seated space, Sukhasana, legs crossed gently, and then taking the hands to the knees to face up, close the eyes. And we'll take a big, deep, collective breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go out the mouth. And then taking hands together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. Lifting up tall through the belly and through the heart. May all beings be free and find their peace. Namaste. Shanti. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope you had a great weekend. We will be here next week. If you are interested in doing any private sessions or group sessions, check out my website. I've been doing a handful of privates, and they are, from my perspective, if I say so myself, they're a lot of fun. They're really great. You get one-on-one feedback. We can choose any sort of subject to work on. If you want physical postures to work on, if you want to do breathing, if you'd like to do meditation, if you'd just like to do a bit of it all, maybe philosophy or any yoga philosophy that you'd like to learn about. So it's really up to you. So we can incorporate all 8 limbs, or you can pick a few. Thanks again for coming, guys. Have a great weekend.